Hometown Tattoo is back in the Keystone State, visiting Ozzie Perez at Philadelphia Eddie's in Chinatown. Ozzie got started on Amanda's Alice in Wonderland tattoo and discussed the importance of doing your research when choosing an artist.
We're at Philadelphia Eddie's Chinatown talking to Ozzie Perez. Hello, Ozzie. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome.
So how long have you been working at Chinatown Eddie's?
Been here for about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a year. I love it here. This place is awesome. This place rules. You know, there's a ton of tradition here. There's no place I'd rather be. I've worked in a few shops, but this is obviously the awesomest place I've ever worked. You know?
What makes Chinatown Eddie's different than other tattoo shops?
The history. I mean, you're hard pressed to find a shop that's got this much history. You know, like recently, the fellas who own it, Brad Kendall and Dave Steele, were just rummaging through stuff and they find a bunch of old acetate stencils that are probably 60 years old, you know?
Oh, wow.
And it's back when they used to put stencils on with acetates and they'd have graphite in a little pepper shaker and they'd pour it on you. And if you don't know how to tattoo that and you wipe it, it's gone. And we got boxes full of that stuff. And it's just, in general, it's just, this place has been here forever. It's the oldest shop in Philly. There's no shop that's been around before this one. There's a lot of good shops. You can go anywhere in Philly and get a solid tattoo. Like, it's an awesome tattoo town, but this is the oldest one. This is the headquarters.
This is Eddie's first shop?
This is the one. I mean, he had one at 9th and Cherry before this. And this was owned by a biker named Harry. You know, Harry passed away in 88. I don't know the whole details about it. I mean, legend says a poisonous animal bit him. I don't know if it's true. I know he kept poisonous snakes and tarantulas and the like. So.
Oh, wow.
And then when he died, Eddie moved from his other shop here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you know, this is the oldest one.
How long have you been tattooing?
About 15 years now. About 15 years. I started off in the Bronx, and I started off the way you don't want to start off. I'm self-taught. I'll throw that right out there. I wanted to apprentice. I knocked on a lot of shops' doors, got doors slammed in my face. And then eventually I was like, you know, F it, you know. I want to do this, you know. So I went to a tattoo supplier that a lot of people in New York City go to. And I got a little beginner's kit for $200, you know. It was, I mean, I wouldn't be caught dead using something like this now, 15 years later. But back then, that's how I did it, you know. And, yeah, and it sucks. It's something I don't condone. It took me 8 years to learn something an apprentice can learn in 2 or 3 years. And it's an ass backwards way to learn. You don't want to learn that way. But that's the way I learned, you know. And I did try to apprentice. I wanted to be the guy mopping the floors. It didn't work out that way, you know. But then once I started working in shops, I learned something from everybody I ever worked with. So it's unfair to say I'm self-taught.
What's your favorite thing to tattoo? What kind of stuff?
I mean, I've got a reputation for doing the portraits. When I moved to Philly, no one wanted to do them. The guy I worked for didn't like doing them. So they just kind of fell into my lap. I love doing them. I'm pretty good at them. But I like doing the classic imagery, the traditional stuff. I don't get enough of it. Mm-hmm. I'm known as a black and gray realism guy, but I love the traditional. I mean, all the stuff behind you right there on the wall, that's classic. That's why we keep that stuff on the wall. Never goes out of style. You know, if someone comes in and gets this snake or that rose, that stuff's always going to look good.
What do you think constitutes a good tattoo?
Pretty much it's going to hold up over time, man. A lot of dudes, I mean, I remember the 1990s, there was a whole tattoo renaissance. And these guys were pushing the art form to the limit. I mean, they were doing stuff that had never been seen. And a lot of that stuff just didn't hold up that well. Mm-hmm. A lot of that stuff, you see it now, it just doesn't look, I mean, the masters, their stuff's still great, man. You know, you see a Marcus Pacheco tattoo, it's amazing. You know, it'll be amazing in 20 years. But a lot of the guys that were influenced by him that did stuff that wasn't within the boundaries of what they should have been doing, no outlines whatsoever. A lot of that stuff looks like vomit now. And now in this generation, there's a lot of dudes doing stuff, and it's like, is it really going to hold up? The traditional stuff holds up well, man. It's going to look good in 40 years, you know?
So if somebody was getting a tattoo for the first time, what would you suggest that they know before coming into a shop and talking to an artist?
Well, they should definitely have an idea, A, of what they want, B, what style they want, and C, they should look at portfolios and see who can do what they want. Just think about it, you know? Think about how big you want it, you know, where's it going on your body, you know, if it's going on your shoulder, maybe get something round. If it's on your calf, maybe get something vertical that's long that'll look nice there. But you got to do the homework and you got to do the research, see what you like. You know, if you like super intricate tribal, probably not your guy. You know, if you want a biomechanical sleeve, you know, buy a plane ticket. There's awesome biomechanical artists. I mean, there's not many in Philly, but you know, go see somebody that kicks ass at that. You know, like a Ron Earhart or Aaron Kane. Those guys are awesome. If you want a nice black and gray portrait, come see me. If you want some nice traditional, I'm your guy. I love doing Star Wars tattoos. You know. R2D2, C3PO, whatever. You know, there's a bunch of Star Wars paintings I just finished doing. I'm selling those online. But you just got to do a little research and see what it is you got in your head, whether it's possible and who can do it. You know?
What is the biggest difference between the tattoo culture and scene here in Philadelphia compared to where you started tattooing?
Well, when I started tattooing, I started in New York City, and I mean, there's definitely a tattoo scene there. I mean, electric tattooing pretty much started there. You know, the Bowery, you know, 11 Chatham Square, Charlie Wagner, the Moskowitz brothers. Like, New York's New York. But I mean, New York, it's a city with 10 million people, you know? And it's probably got 500 tattoo shops, and there's probably 10 elite shops in a city of 10 million people. And it's almost impossible to get in those 10 elite shops unless you're known. You almost got to leave New York, make a name, and then you can get a job. Not everybody can work at New York Adorn. Not everybody can work at East Side Ink or Last Right. It's like, you know, it's tough to get in those shops. But, you know, Philly's just, I love Philly, man. It's just, the tattoo tradition it's awesome. You can pretty much get a good tattoo anywhere you go. You know, every shop does solid, clean tattooing here. Traditional, awesome tattoos. And it's just a cool town. I mean, you can go to CVS here, and the people working there are all pierced up. They're all tattoos on their neck. And they can get jobs, you know. In a lot of places in New York, I mean, you like to think it's pretty liberal. Maybe they don't get a job, you know. And that's what I love about Philly. And the fact that Philly's a little smaller. It doesn't have 10 million people, but I still feel like I'm in Manhattan, you know. And three of my favorite artists, in my opinion, the top three guys in Philly, bar none, in no particular order. Topper, Martin Lacasse, and Dave Fox. Everybody else is on the outside looking in. Those are the top three dudes. Topper, Martin Lacasse, and Dave Fox. You can put them in whatever order you want. Those dudes are awesome. They push the envelope. They're it, and they're all here, which is awesome. I see their tattoos walking around. It inspires me. Another thing is, the food here is awesome in Philly. You know, you can go anywhere and have an awesome meal. You can do the same thing in New York, because New York has everything. But if you don't know where to go in New York, you're just going to end up at Mickey D's, you know. You got to know where to go in New York to get the food. In Philly, anywhere you go has good food, you know. Good hoagies, good cheesesteaks, you name it. The beer culture here is through the roof. Generally speaking, when I went drinking in New York, and I'm bringing this up because I have the unquenchable thirst. I love drinking. I love drinking. In New York, generally speaking, you go to most bars, you have your Heineken, your Corona, you know, your Budweiser, your High Life. The choices are very finite. In Philly, these bars will have 300 different beers. Like Monk's has 300 beers. And I'm not a beer snob, but I think it's cool. You can go in there and you can be a snob and be like, I want something malty. And they'll give you something malty, dude. And that's what's cool about Philly, you know? But if you tell someone, good morning, they might be like, go f*** yourself, you know? Philly rocks. Philly rocks. That's what's cool about Philly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ozzie.
You're welcome.
So if you like good food, great tattoos, and Star Wars, call at Philadelphia Eddie's in Chinatown and schedule an appointment with Ozzie Perez.